Unmute.
Welcome everyone to the IQ remote.
Oh, I got echoing.
Yeah, turn the volume off. There we go. Wow, welcome to Monday. Well, we are glad to be here. Kelsey, and we got our guest, Jason, one of our technical account managers, and if you haven't met him yet, welcome to the Qualsis show. Yeah. I feel like it's a TV show. Really excited to have everyone on today. We've got a lot of people on the webinar today. Holy cow. Almost as many as we had last week's webinar. So thank you everyone for joining.
They're saying it's still echoing. Oh no.
Still echoing?
So we have which one?
Oh, is the microphone on? I gotta mute the microphone.
Oh, that should be better.
Wow.
It should be working now. Let us know.
You'd think it was our first webinar.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Perfect. Okay,
so
thanks,
just
Ben.
as a little bit of background, we actually have multiple things going on. We've got Kelsey's computer here so that she can look at and answer questions. We've got my phone controlling the presentation. We've got my laptop across the room connected with the actual presentation close to the speakers so you can hear the videos when they play. And then we've got another laptop over here that has the camera on it. So it's actually a lot more complex than you think. Maybe we need to simplify things and just do everything off a single laptop. We'll do that for next time.
It's not as fun.
Enough chit chat. Let's get down to business.
Okay.
If you are joining for the first time, we want to make sure you understand how to interact with us. We want your interaction. We want you talking to us. So use the chat function on the GoToWebinar control panel. Find it should say chat or questions. You can type your comments or questions in. Let us know where you're at. Let us know what the weather's like. Weather here has been crazy this week. It is super sunny and nice outside. Last week it was really warm, 50, 60 degrees, and then we had this huge storm come through and give us tons of snow. So if you don't like the weather in Utah, just wait a few minutes, it'll change. It's pretty awesome. Did you guys get out and play in the snow at all this weekend?
Nope.
Not really.
You guys are all boring.
Bunkered inside and stayed warm.
So ignore these boring people. I hope you guys went out and did something fun this weekend, because Qualsis, if you don't know, stands for Quality of Life Systems. And as part of Quality of Life, we want you to go out and have fun. I went camping this weekend. I had a great time. In the snow, I'll have you know. So it was a lot of fun.
Andrew says it's sunny in San Jose, California.
Oh, nice. Glad to hear that.
Yep.
And that means it's coming it'll be sunny here shortly,
Hopefully.
Right? Isn't it always sunny in San Jose?
Yeah, I don't know. Dwayne says it's windy, about 30 to 40 degrees.
Okay, good to know.
So it's a little everything.
Before we dive into our subject today, which is the IQ remote, we want to ask a quick poll. So why don't you, just as a point of reference for us to understand where you're coming from and what you're doing, we want to know if your company is currently installing the IQ. What about now? Can you guys hear us now? Hopefully you can hear us now. Turn your microphone off. Can't hear it now? Can you hear it now? All right. That's much better. Okay. So no microphone there. Microphone here. Okay. So we're good. So thank you for answering that poll. That helps us understand a little bit about who we're talking to, you know, what type of, how much detail we need to go into things. And if you haven't watched our previous webinars or looked on our website or watched our videos about the IQ panel 2, definitely now is a good time to do that. Well, not now, but after the video, after the webinar that we do, because we want you to learn a lot more about that. And you can certainly reach out to us and let us know what kind of information you want. So let's dive in real quick to the IQ remote. We want to show a quick video first to kind of set the stage for what the IQ remote is. This same video is available on our website and our dealer portal. So if you want to download it and use it as a sales tool, you certainly can, and we encourage you to do that. But let's go ahead and watch that right now. And I got the volume here.
Jennifer's door open.
So again, that video is available on our website. Makes it very easy to download and use for your sales materials. Hopefully you're able to use that and be effective with it. So let's talk a little bit about the IQ panel the IQ remote. First off, looks great on a table. Comes with a table stand. How often would you say dealers are installing on a table stand versus on the wall?
Probably not as often as wall mounts. Wall mounts are preferred. The less that a customer has control to move it around, the better in most of our opinions. But with that being said, we do ship with a table stand. It's easy to just pop in. It's great. Looks good on a table, right? So this little table stand just snaps right into the back of the remote like that. Takes 2 seconds, and it looks good sitting on the table. So with that, there's a couple things you'll want to note. When you're putting this table stand in, you actually want to push real hard and make sure you hear the snap. A lot of people will put this in thinking that it's in and it's not really in, and then it eventually will fall.
That happened to you the other day. You were putting it together and you put it on the table and it immediately went flop and just flopped out.
So you actually want to put a little pressure on there and make sure you actually get the snap here. The snap, make sure it's in there. Yep, the snap is key. And then the other thing is we have this little film on the bottom of the table stand, if you can see that. And it's a little rubber pad that just helps with traction. If you have a table that's real slick like this one here, this will move around. If you take that film off, that'll just help it stick a little bit better to the table.
I don't think I knew that. So
I
there's a
didn't know
little.
that either.
Oh yeah, look at that. So if you think it's slipping around too much, peel that little bad boy off, and that's a little more grippy. Yeah, that's nice.
So yeah, definitely less people use the table mount than the wall mount, but we ship with the table mount regardless, and we do have dealers that use it and love it. So.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay. Well, then of course that brings us to the wall mount, which obviously it looks great on the wall, super thin. This wall mount was specifically designed for this product. I remember when we first launched secondary tablets with our first generation panel, it didn't have a wall mount. And we just said, oh, you could just plug in the side. Most people are going to table stand, but a lot of people asking for wall mounts. Why do people like the wall mount so much, Jason?
This is really easy to install. As you can see, it's really small, it's really thin. So once this is on the wall and the tablet is actually on the wall mount, it sticks real close to the wall. And it's simple, right? I mean, this thing's really small, it's really light. I've got multiple screw holes here. I can use all the screw holes if I want. At least a couple of the screw holes, is recommended, of course. But this is just real easy to put up on a wall.
Comes with screws too.
Yeah, we ship with screws. Once this is on the wall, the remote just snaps right into place. I mean, it's a super easy way to install the tablet.
So you pull this off, and then this would just snap right into here. You can see that's the back. As this has got these little tabs here, here, and here, and you simply line it up and snap it into place. And you can see how thin that is. I mean, if you take a caliper tool and measure the actual distance, got a caliper tool here. So I'm going to show you the actual distance of the width of it is, well, I don't want millimeters, 0.6 of an inch. So 0.6 is how thick it is. If you add the table stand in there, it's 0.7. So less than an inch, you know, almost half an inch thin, incredibly thin. I can
But
see
you
why
can see in
people
that picture what it looks like compared to molding.
Yeah,
So close.
yeah, it really is nice and thin.
Yeah.
It looks like a tablet, right? Compared to
Mhm.
other secondary keypads that are out on the market, this is just the best looking one I think that you'll find. You know, it's a 7-inch touchscreen. It sits real close to the wall. It's thin, ultra thin, right? So this is just a really cool secondary keypad, especially compared to other ones that we've seen. So.
Now it's packed with features. There's a lot of things in it. What are the things that make this unique about compared to maybe other secondary tablets out in the market?
I mean, there's quite a few, right off the top of my head. I mean, it's a 7-inch touchscreen for one.
Most are still rubber button keypads for their secondaries, right? There's still a few.
Or even they're by no means a 7-inch touchscreen, right? The ones that are touchscreen are a lot smaller than this. It's got the same UI as the IQ panel too. So as far as customer-facing user interface goes, they have the same control abilities they do on their main keypad. So they can arm from here, they can disarm from here, they can control all of their Z-Wave, turn on the lights, lock the locks, you know, close the garage.
And that's really important for a customer, especially customers who don't have a lot of time to think about what kind of, you know, technology and education they want to do. They don't want to sit and learn a brand new user interface. It's frustrating enough to potentially open up your app and see different icons, which we work really hard to make sure that the icons are consistent with the app. But to have this completely different experience, you have to learn all from scratch, you know, it's so much easier if you just walk up to the panel and you know exactly how to use it because it looks the same as your primary.
So we do, oh, sorry, cutting you off. We
Okay.
do have a few questions about what's included with the remote pack. So
Okay.
how it's powered. Can you easily switch between the wall mount and the table stand? We want to talk about those really quick.
Yeah. So choose a question. Who's asking these questions? Good.
So
Intelligent people?
David,
Oh, he's an intelligent person.
so David asked why the wall mount does not come pre-drilled for mounting the IQ remote on a standard handy electrical box.
That's a good question.
That's a really good
That
question.
is
We did that for our second generation IQ panel.
Yep.
We didn't do that. I don't know why we didn't do that.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, yeah.
No.
Yeah,
We should have thought of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get one of the product developer guys on here.
Although I really do wonder how often people are putting this on a
That's
standard
what I was
electrical
going to
box.
say. There's
Most of
not.
the time it's
I'd say
probably
the
not.
percentage of electrical boxes that people are mounting this over are probably pretty low. I think most people are slapping this up on a fresh piece of drywall.
Mhm.
But yeah, with that being said, I mean, it wouldn't hurt, right, to have it mount over a box. I don't know why. Maybe it's something we can.
It's a good idea. We should
Yeah.
make a note. We should send him a T-shirt for being so smart.
Perfect.
Mhm. Yep.
And then, so the power supplies actually comes with the IQ remote.
Yeah, and the power supply is specific. So just like the IQ Panel 2, it's got a barrel jack, right? Now it's a different power supply and a different barrel jack than the primary, correct?
You want to make sure you use the one that comes with the remote,
Okay.
of course.
Can they cut this and splice it and things like that?
They could. I mean, you run into issues with voltage drop, right? With like anything. So
how long is this cord then? 10 feet?
I'm not sure actually how long we shipped with those. I know that they changed it recently. It's long enough. If you want to use this cord and run on the
That's really
wall,
long.
it's definitely long enough, right? I would
That's
say
got
that
some good length to it.
it's probably 10 feet.
Yeah.
So long enough. Running this in the wall can be hard. So absolutely, we have techs that will snip this barrel jack off and then resplice it once they get their wire around.
Mhm.
So definitely doable. I wouldn't try to run this thing, into the basement or up into the attic too far because you do run into some voltage drop issues. But for your standard, mount and run this to an outlet down below, this is plenty long enough. Most guys will just snip, like I said, the barrel jack so they can get this wire through the wall and then, they'll use this. Some guys will run their own wire, but it just depends. Depends on the installation on the
And that barrel jack gets connected right into here, right?
Right into the back.
So this is, you can see on the back, you've got this little square, and it's all very easy to miss. You can see a little dot right there. That's where it plugs in. Just right into that, and it's just tucks away right there. So when you put it on that wall mount, it's nice and thin. Pops in there, doesn't take any extra space, and voila. Okay, tucked away, nice and thin. So really nice little system.
Does this have a backup battery like the IQ panel? does?
Yeah, it does. It's not a UL rated backup battery. It's just kind of there because this is an off-the-shelf tablet that we customized in order for our purposes, right?
Yep. So it doesn't have the UL listed backup battery like we're used to having on our main keypad. But it doesn't have a backup battery. Now, one thing I wanted to note is that this transformer is only 5 volts. So going back to the voltage drop issues, right? 5 volts doesn't get you a whole lot wire length if needed, right? So again, if you have to run your own wire, you can. Just keep that in mind that you can't go very far.
And for those people that aren't familiar with voltage drop, it's basically the concept of not getting enough power to the panel, so the panel will keep shutting down.
Yeah, most tablets, most touchscreens will use a 12 volt. I guess I should say most security panels will use at least 12 volt power supply. Our tablet is very efficient. It's essentially a tablet. It's a smartphone, right? So we only need 5 volts. So with that, wire length, becomes an issue. If you're trying to extend this out really long, like I said, most guys will just snip the barrel jack off, get this through the wall, reattach the barrel jack, and that works for, I'd say, 90% of our dealers that are installing these today. So
okay, excellent. Now you mentioned also the user interface, so they can do full Z-Wave control on the IQ remote.
Full Z-Wave control, same functionality.
And so how do you make sure that the Z-Wave devices that are on the panel appear on the IQ remote?
You don't have to do anything. It's all automatic. Once you pair the remote to the main keypad, it'll
So any lights that I have access to on my primary panel, I'll also have on my secondary.
100%.
Any locks, same thing.
100%.
Any garage openers,
Yep.
same thing.
Yep.
If I have 50 lights on I can be able to scroll up and down through all the lights and then swipe over to the locks page and access all my locks,
Totally.
my thermostats,
Yep.
all of it.
Yep.
It's excellent. And then from a security standpoint, I can arm, disarm. When I disarm, the built-in camera takes a photograph, right?
Yep.
Now today, I believe the disarm photos are stored locally on this, correct?
Just locally for now.
Just locally.
Yep.
But then in the future, we'll be pushing this up to the cloud so they can get them on their phones.
Yes.
Okay.
Caleb wants to know if the remote has a siren. So when the system goes off,
It does.
there's a
Very good
siren as
question.
well.
Yep.
That is a good question.
It's not a piezo siren though. It's just the speakers of the
Just a
remote
speaker.
making sounds.
Yep.
to,
It's not.
to go
It's
off.
definitely not as loud as the main keypad siren. That is a piezo.
But it is something.
It's loud enough. It'll wake you up.
Will that same siren go off if like smoke detectors go off?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Excellent. Excellent.
So full functionality as far as chimes, voices,
Mhm.
alarms go.
And you can pair up to 3 of these using Wi-Fi, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So guys, to give you a little explanation of how that works, we're going to go to this next slide here. So the IQ remote, let's say this is your house, okay? And you've got your primary panel downstairs in the kitchen there, and that's connected, using dual path to both LTE and Wi-Fi, okay? So then you've got a panel upstairs on the main level, okay? Let's call it your living room IQ remote. That's connected to your home network. You've got that little router, maybe it's down in your utility room down in the basement. And that's connected to the home network. You've also got maybe a basement one. This is nice. I actually have a very similar setup in my house. We've got a panel, an IQ remote down in the basement, so that if we're down in the basement and the front door opens, I can hear it. They're be able to access, a place to be able to turn our lights on and off, things like that. It's kind of nice. And again, that's paired right to the home network Wi-Fi router because it is close enough to do it. But let's say, for instance, that you also have one upstairs in the master bedroom, but it's too far away from the home router to be able to connect to the home router. You can use the panel's built-in access point for that, right?
100%. Yep.
The panel access point is a software feature on the IQ panel too that actually turns the Wi-Fi radio into also kind of almost a router. But for those of you that are not familiar with terms of access point versus router, an access point is almost like a range extender or a hotspot. A lot of you guys have hotspots on your phones. You can turn the panel into that access point and allow the device that's too far away, in this case the remote that's upstairs, to connect directly to the panel, which happens to be closer to the router. So it can kind of bridge the gap between those two, right?
Totally.
Now this isn't something you'd want to do for every single remote in the house, right?
No, to be frank, our access point isn't as strong as most home routers is, right? It's not going to have the range that most home routers do. By chance, in most cases, right, your customer's $200 ASUS router is going to be a lot stronger than our access point. So,
and that's just because of the antennas they're using. They're making it specifically for a router.
Exactly. Yeah. Our access point, isn't intended to totally replace the customer's router. In fact, in most cases, connecting it, the Wi-Fi devices to the customer's router is still going to be the better way to do it. But absolutely, if you're where your remote is, or really any Wi-Fi device, right, is out of range of the customer's router. Maybe the router's at the front door and we're trying to connect something in the back door and it's just too far away. Our panel can definitely act as a repeater, if you will, or an access point, right? We can connect our Wi-Fi device, or in this case, the remote, directly to our keypad, which will then connect to the customer's router. So Again, not intended to totally replace, using the
But bridging the gap.
But bridging the gap, absolutely, yeah.
And could you do all three keypads, all three IQ remotes to the keypad?
You could, yeah.
Could?
You can pair up to 3 to the access point, yep.
Perfect.
So it's just a matter of what's going to be better for the customer's home network. I know there's some customers out there that have, maybe they've got Cox or Comcast and they just got the router, the base router that they lease, and they're only allowed to have a certain number of devices connected to it. And for that reason, if they were to connect the IQ remote, it would exceed the number of allowed devices and wouldn't work properly. So by using the IQ panel's built-in access point, they can still have that because the panel could be connected to the home router, but then all the remotes could then be connected to the panel.
Sure.
So again, bridge that gap.
Yep.
Jim had a good question. He said, since it has an access point, does the customer need to have Wi-Fi in their home for this to work?
Really good question.
Yeah, that's a great question.
So in the event that someone doesn't have Wi-Fi, so the picture that we're showing here, you're showing dual path connectivity to the cell phone tower, the LTE.
Yep.
If that router in the basement that is providing Wi-Fi doesn't exist at all, then potentially they're only getting LTE, but they could still use the panel access point as a local network to connect all these, right?
Totally, yep.
Yeah. The only concern would be range. If
the only concern there is range. Yep.
Yeah.
Assuming that the access point will cover the range that you're looking for. But yeah, new home, customer just moved in, they don't have internet yet. You can still pair up your remotes to the keypad using the access point and make sure that everything's working until they get internet for sure.
Now, if the customer wanted, let's say that they weren't planning on getting Wi-Fi anytime soon, and they wanted to buy one of those Wi-Fi range extenders, could they pair that to the panel's built-in access point to allow an IQ remote to go?
Yeah, they could, and we're working a little bit to develop that a little better. We may, look into some extenders that we'll recommend that we've tested really that we like. So we're looking into that. I think that's still kind of in development right now, but that's definitely an option for sure.
Okay. Great. Other questions?
Yes. Multiple questions asking if the IQ remote will work as a repeater for Z-Wave or other smart home devices.
Really good question.
Yeah, great question. The answer in short is no. It will not act as a repeater.
Yeah. In order to do that, we'd have to install a Z-Wave radio inside this, and that would increase the price. And our goal was to try and keep it as low as possible because we knew that these were secondary tablets. This wasn't something that meant to be the cost of a primary panel. So by not adding a Z-Wave radio in here, by not adding an extra Wi-Fi radio to turn it into a Wi-Fi repeater, it's another one we get a lot too, is can you use this as a Wi-Fi range extender? It would have extra cost built into this, and it would also potentially make it thicker. So we wanted to keep it thin, and we wanted to keep it fairly inexpensive for you. Very good questions. Other questions?
Do we know the range? As you were talking about range, multiple people chimed in and asked.
That really depends on the home network.
Yeah, that's a great question. There's not really a good answer to that. It really depends on the home network. It depends on the environment. We're still collecting data on this, so we don't really have a specified number for range. It just depends on
But I think when it comes to range, I think that's actually one of the great things about the IQ remote is using it on Wi-Fi. You can actually go as far as you can as long as the Wi-Fi network can support it. There's a lot of secondary tablets out there that are run either by a wire or run by a proprietary protocol like 900 megahertz. And when you use one of those protocols, if there's not a way to extend that range, then you're limited by how far that can go. With this, you could literally put as many Wi-Fi range extenders as you needed, make that network as strong as it needed to be to continue to connect to these.
Yeah, range really comes down to your in-home network, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're getting internet where you want the remote, great. Let's
pair
it up.
And that's becoming more and more important in these installs, in smart home installs where people are looking at these smart home devices, having really strong, really robust Wi-Fi network is becoming more and more important. It's almost, I almost see it as a theme this year with our dealers as they're talking about things they're doing. Dealers are telling us that they want to become the customer's Wi-Fi networking administrator in many cases, which surprised me because I thought they'd say, well, I don't want to touch that thing. But more and more they're realizing that so many of the devices that they're installing are dependent on that network, that it's easier for you as the dealer to manage that network than it is to depend on Comcast, Cox, or whoever, to maintain it the way the customer wants. And the customer's own ignorance or lack of understanding of Wi-Fi, networks and importance, how, the robustness of a router, things like that. They don't have to understand that stuff. So the dealer can step in and say, I'll be the person to help you out. I'll make sure you have a great, robust network. You can buy the router from me, things like that. I'm seeing quite a few dealers getting into that business.
Yeah, the range is a good one. I mean, compared to a lot of the other secondary keypads that are out there, that are using like a 900, megahertz frequency to communicate, you're very limited on range because we are Wi-Fi and we are as strong as the Wi-Fi network is in the home. We usually are getting, way better range than some of the other keypads that we're used to installing in the past. So because of Wi-Fi, we do get great range. We don't really have a number, right? Because it's controlled by the customer's router and their internet, and we don't control that. But it is better than some of the other keypads that we're used to installing. So range is quite a bit better.
Yeah.
If you're used
Other
to
questions?
Awesome. People are asking about Skybell on the IQ Panel 2 / IQ Remote. Is that something we're wanting?
So really good question. I don't want to talk too much about it. It is coming in a future software update, and I'm assuming the question is, can I view my Skybell on this? The answer is not yet, but soon. And be watching for a software update in the future that will allow you to do that. We are working very closely with alarm.com to make that a reality. In fact, we just sent over the icons to our software team last year for the new revised UI that we're working on. So it is something we're working on actively. Yep, perfect. Good questions.
Updates on the IQ remotes.
Yeah, those happen automatically, right, Jason?
Automatically. When we release an update for the main panel and the main panel is updated, it will automatically update the IQ remote along.
So does the end user need to initiate that, or does that happen automatically?
It's all done automatically, right?
Because they're connected to Wi-Fi?
Because they're connected to each other via Wi-Fi, yep. So as soon as the main panel updates, it will send out, it will ping this panel and tell it to update at the same time. So as soon as the main panel updates and reboots, this will then follow the same process. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Good. Other questions?
Let's see. Jerry wants to know how large the screen is on the IQ remote.
7
What's your
inches.
question?
Yep, identical to the IQ Panel 2.
That'll work.
So you can see, I've got these side by side. Screen size is identical. And from a look and feel standpoint, they really do look very, very similar. Obviously the IQ Panel 2 is a little bit thicker because it does have things like the siren and the 24-hour battery and things like that. But there's still not a huge difference in the thickness either. I mean, the IQ Panel is a little bit less than an inch. This is just a little bit over ½ an inch. So very, very, very similar. Good question.
Perfect. And I think we're good.
Okay. Well, so guys, as you're going to distribution and you're purchasing the IQ Panel 2 or the IQ Remote, make sure you look for the gold box. That's what this looks like. You can see there's one of these right here. In fact, I'd like to give one of these gold boxes away to somebody.
Let's do it. Okay.
Jason, can you give me a number between 1 and 200?
1 and 200.
Random number, you choose.
128.
128. Okay. Let's scroll down to 128.
128.
Mindy Saunier.
I think that's it.
Mindy Saunier, is that how you say it? Sonnier. You just got yourself an IQ remote. So
Awesome.
We'll make sure that we
Yes.
Kelsey gets with you and we'll mail this to you. Congratulations. Good job.
Awesome.
So that's for Mindy. Took that away.
Perfect.
Want to show you one more video. We just finished recording this one, and I don't think it's quite published yet, but we want to show you that this is a video that Kelsey's developed to show you not only about the IQ remote, but also how to install it. So if you've got installers that are out there wanting to know what to do, this video will cover everything from how to install it on a table stand or a wall mount, how to connect it to Wi-Fi, how to connect it to a panel access point, everything. So let's watch that video now.
Allows you to easily control your security and smart home system from different locations in your home or business. You can touch, swipe, and use your remote the same as your primary panel. The built-in camera captures disarm photos, and the 7-inch screen turns into a photo frame when not in use. The IQ remote pairs with the IQ Panel 2 using Wi-Fi, giving you the flexibility to place the secondary tablets as far away as the network strength will allow. The IQ remote is thin,
I know.
easily attaching to the wall with the included wall mount, or placed on a table or countertop using the included table stand, meaning you can place it almost anywhere. To install the IQ remote on the wall, run your wire to the desired location, then install the bracket around the hole using the screws provided. Once the bracket is secure and level, plug the barrel jack from the power supply into the back of the IQ remote like this. With the barrel jack plugged in, slide the IQ remote onto the wall mount bracket. Next, plug in your power supply. Now you can power on the device by pressing and holding the button on the side for 3 seconds. If you choose to install the IQ remote using the included table stand, you won't need to worry about running a wire through your wall. Simply insert the table stand into the tabs and push down until you hear it click into place. If you don't click it into place, the stand won't hold the tablet up. So be sure that these little tabs are secured on the back of the IQ remote. With the table stand installed, insert the barrel jack into the back of the IQ remote and then plug in the power supply. Press and hold the button on the side of the tablet for 3 seconds to power it on. To pair the IQ remote with the IQ panel, start by turning on the IQ remote's built-in Wi-Fi radio by touching this button and locating your network on the list. The IQ remote uses the home or business network to connect to the IQ panel too. So in order to operate properly, be sure to connect it to the same 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi network as your IQ panel. There may be some cases where you want to connect the IQ remote directly to the built-in panel access point. For example, if the home or business doesn't have Wi-Fi, or if the Wi-Fi is not strong enough to reach the location where the IQ panel will be installed, the built-in panel access point could be a good solution. Swipe down on your settings tray, touch Settings, Advanced Settings, enter your installer code, touch Installation, Devices, then Wi-Fi Devices, touch Access Point, and turn on the Wi-Fi access point. Once activated, you should update the SSID or network name and password to something easy to remember but difficult to guess. With the access point activated, you can connect the IQ remote to the network with the password that you just created. You'll notice that the remote shows that the network is now connected, but it has not established a connection with the IQ panel. To initiate this connection, go to your IQ panel, swipe down on your settings tray, go to Settings, Advanced Settings, type in your installer code, touch Installation, Devices, Wi-Fi Devices, and IQ remote devices. Touch Pair on the IQ panel too, and the corresponding Pair button on the IQ remote. These two devices will connect to each other over the network. If the IQ remote requires a software update, it will download and install automatically. If you're adding more than one IQ remote to your network, you may want to customize the names to easily identify them. Once it's complete, your IQ remote will be ready to use. The remote will capture disarm photos, and when a door or window is open, the remote will speak the names and sound its chimes, the same as the IQ panel. If you choose to install the IQ remote in a bedroom, you can choose to activate nighttime mode if you wish to turn off the screen and sounds while you're sleeping. Up to 3 IQ remotes can be paired with the IQ panel, and add additional ways to access your system and retain the same experience in your home or business.
Hopefully that wasn't too choppy for you. Again, this is something that is available on the dealer portal. You'll be able to use that to train yourselves, your technicians, etc., to use the IQ panel the proper way, or the IQ remote the proper way. Keep saying IQ panel.
I know, me too.
Any questions that cropped up while we were talking there or watching that video?
I don't think so.
Okay, great.
I
We'd like to ask another poll question real quick. A couple actually. So, how often do you install secondary tablets for an end user? Is it more than 50% of the time? Is it 25 to 50% of the time? Is it 1 to 25% of the time, or you don't do them at all, or maybe you don't know? But I've heard that a lot of times. The reasons for installing a secondary tablet are really vary quite a bit. What are the reasons that you hear, Jason?
Mostly customers are worried about being able to hear the chimes and the sirens up in their bedroom. You put the main panel downstairs and they're upstairs or downstairs and they're worried about hearing what's going on with the system. A lot of times it's because their old system had a panel up on the wall and there's a hole in the wall and they want to cover it, right? Just being able to control the system from multiple levels in your home is really convenient, and I think that's really the main reason that I've heard.
I have one upstairs, in my bedroom, in the master bedroom, and that way we can hear, when kids' doors, because we have sensors on all our kids' doors. Go ahead and close that.
This.
Yeah, go ahead and do that. Go ahead and launch the next one too. I'm curious to know what's the most important thing, what's the most appealing thing about using a secondary tablet. So what is the most appealing thing about using a secondary tablet? Is it the ability to access your system in different areas? Is it chimes and voices repeated by the secondary? Is it covering up a hole? Is it the option to use the wall mount or table stand or something else? You can choose as many as you feel are appropriate to you. I know we've got one in our bedroom. We've put sensors on each of the kids' bedroom doors. And in the middle of the night, if a kid gets up because they're sick or, for whatever reason, we can hear it. Even though they're all the way downstairs, we would never hear that door opening, but we can hear, Lola's bedroom door open, Jake's bedroom door open. We can go down and figure out, are they sick? Are they okay? Is there, like just climbing out of bed? More than once, I've been able to scoop up a baby, get them back into bed before they're fully awake, or decide to start wandering around, turning on lights, getting snacks, doing whatever. So it's been really nice to have that. We also have one downstairs in the basement, so that if we are downstairs, the doorbell rings, or maybe, the 1-year-old's headed out the back door, you can hear back door open. We're like, wait a minute, back door open, but it's only the 1-year-old upstairs. Let's get upstairs and go, deal with that. So it's kind of nice to be able to have that ability to hear it. So for me, if it were me choosing, I would say it's because of the chimes. I like the chimes the best.
My favorite part, because I have one in my bedroom and one downstairs as well, and the biggest thing for me is if I'm asleep and an alarm goes off, I have access to know what to set the alarm off and where, right, in my bedroom, right? If the alarm goes off, I go to my panel, I know exactly that I came from the back door, from the front door, and I kind of know where to look, right? Whereas if I just had the main panel on the floor and an alarm goes off, I run downstairs and I bump into an intruder possibly, right? I like knowing exactly where the alarm goes off as I'm still kind of waking up and know where to point the gun.
Do you get a lot of intruders?
No, zero. But if it were to happen, right?
What's the if? Oh, the if. Okay.
Let's be honest. How many intruders do alarm panel owners have ever, right?
Yeah. Luckily, that's the beautiful thing about the signs and stickers, right? Put the signs and stickers up and no one ever shows that.
But when it happens, right?
Be prepared. That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Well, guys, thanks so much for that. I just can't tell you enough how much I love the IQ remote and how it's really improved our lives. I mean, my wife had me put the other ones in. I was okay with, our system the way it was, and she's like, I want to be able to hear in the basement. I want to be able to hear in our room, things like that. And it's really helped enhance our personal lives. I'm sure it will for your customers as well. Kelsey, any parting words?
I don't think so.
If you guys need stuff, Kelsey's here for you.
Yes.
Type in the chat, type your email address in there. If you guys need something and want to help with getting onboarded, to learn about the dealer portal, getting access to the dealer portal, knowing where to go for distribution, getting yourself listed on the Find a Dealer tool, things like that, absolutely reach out to Kelsey. She'll help you with all of it. And Jason, if they need technical support, we've got a technical support line that can help them with whether it's the IQ remote or anything, right? What's that phone number?
It's 855-QUALSYS is the number. They're available between 8 and 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And they're great, right? That's tier 1, tier 2 tech support. Call them, they can help you out. If they can't help you, if it's something that they can't figure out, they'll transfer you to our tier 3 tech support. We have a dedicated tier 3 tech support team. If they can't answer, guys like myself, someone from the technical account management team can answer those phone calls as well. So yeah, 8 to 8, call that number if you need help. Or even send an email directly to techsupport@qualsys.com. That's a straight shot to our tier 3 tech support team. So yeah, absolutely. If you have questions, if you have issues, let us know if we can help.
And if you want training, technical training, you can go to our dealer portal today and click on training and technical training. And there's a whole series of videos that you can watch through there and feel really confident when you're done with those videos. If you still feel like after you've watched those videos you need more questions, reach out to tech support. We'll get something scheduled for you. You can also reach out to Kelsey and she'll get you scheduled for our next technical webinar. So again, if there's no other questions or comments, thank you again for joining today. We really appreciate everyone being on. Hope you learned a lot. Hope you got something. And congratulations to, who was it?
Mindy.
Oh,
Mindy.
Yes.
Mindy Saunier, I think I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Congratulations on winning the IQ remote. And be watching for our next webinar invite. We're glad to have you on today, and we'll look forward to having you on the next one. Thanks, everyone.
See ya.
Have a good week.
Yeah, just close out the webinar.
All right. So.